Welcome back to the show.
Let's go. What are we talking about today?
So today we got a listener question. And if you...
first of all, thank you to the listener who sent in a question.
Yes.
It's super exciting. We're loving that, by the way.
Yeah.
It makes it super easy because then I don't have to think about a topic.
Yeah,
So
I love
thank
that.
you, world.
Yes.
So send in more. We want to hear your questions. We want to answer them.
Yeah, there's a link to text us in the show notes. And so you can find that and send us a question. And we will do our best to address your question here on the show.
So what was the question?
So I wrote it down. It is, so this person says, I set goals for myself and I feel sparked to change things. But when it's time to get started, I find myself procrastinating and finding other things to occupy my time. Please help. Any advice on this would be appreciated.
So 3 or 4 things come to mind. Legitimately, I didn't see this question until just right now. So I didn't do any prep. So a couple things come to mind. We'll see what direction. Obviously, most people would probably think right out of the gate, motivation. Oh, this person struggles with motivation. I'm going to tell you right now, don't wait for motivation. It's fleeting. So maybe that's a conversation we can have. But where does everything start? Where does everything start when it comes to our human experience and what we create in the world and what we take action upon and what we don't take action upon? You tell me what you think. Mm-hmm. I think it comes from belief.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I was going to say belief.
Or the absence of. Mm-hmm. If we don't believe something, we don't take action upon it. If we believe something, we take action upon it.
Yeah, nobody's buying a lotto ticket because they think they're not going to win. Right? You got to believe.
Right. So limiting beliefs, if you are familiar with that, like this is something that maybe is uncomfortable for some people to explore, but the reality is, I've been using this terminology a lot recently with a handful of my clients of like, let's stare down the wolf. Let's look in the mirror and let's recognize where we are limiting ourselves, what things that we're not taking action upon because we just don't believe that X, Y, or Z, we can do it. Mm-hmm. So where do you want to start?
That's what I think this question is about because they're talking about procrastinating and...
what
a moment of belief, a glimmer of belief to set the goal, and then
it's like a
falling
moment
into
of
that
inspiration. I think it's like I want to do the thing, but then why don't I take action? Because I don't fundamentally believe I can do it. I don't fundamentally believe that it's going to work out. Like if I believed wholeheartedly right now that I had a New York Times best-selling book in me, do you think I would write it?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's keeping me, and I have a couple of different book ideas. There's a lot of different things that I'm working on, but like what's keeping me from actually writing it is probably that. Mm-hmm. So I have to work on the belief first, right? So I think that's the piece is awareness is everything when it comes to transformation, to taking action upon your goals. We have to first recognize if we're not immediately taking action upon it, if we're procrastinating, it's not a personality trait. I can't stand it when people think that all of these different, that's just your personality. My personality is to procrastinate, do things last minute. Mm-hmm. No, it's a habit.
Yeah, something you've trained through
pattern.
repetition.
It's all patterns. Everything's a pattern, physical, mental, or emotional pattern. You have a certain way that you move. You have a certain way you think. You have a certain way that you emotionally feel. And all of that comes from belief.
Mm-hmm. I was a terrible procrastinator in school because I didn't really believe it was important.
There you go.
Right. So I was like, whatever.
Important, so why take action upon it?
Yeah.
What's the point? Mm-hmm. So let's pull back and do just a little bit of setting the stage from like one of these days. I really want to do like a YouTube video with a whiteboard and illustrate my mind. Illustration. I think that'd be a really fascinating conversation, but it has to be visual. It'd be impossible to understand just from auditory. But let's just look at the I'm grossly simplifying. So if you're someone out there who has studied the mind, you're like, well, yeah, but there's this. I'm keeping it simple. Beliefs create thoughts. Thoughts create emotions. Emotions is what we then act upon, right? There is never a thought that we take action upon. We only take action upon something that's deeply felt. Like conviction comes from something deeply felt. So again, beliefs, thoughts, emotion, actions, results, right? Mm-hmm. Outcomes. Okay. So if we're not taking action, how do I need to feel, right? How do I need to think? Sure. but what do I need to believe to
Yeah.
take action upon it? That's kind of the first place my mind goes, is just for, as we listen to this conversation, to frame our conversation around it. I think it'd be powerful, Heidi, for you and I to each tell maybe a quick story about how we have done this personally ourselves. And I can think of, I can think of legitimately at least a dozen off the top of my head right now, either in business, in my personal life, relationship, professional life, whatever, of how we recognize a limiting belief. We're able to challenge that limiting belief, rewrite it, take action, and create a different story.
Yes.
Is there something that comes to mind for you? If you feel comfortable, if you don't, I'm happy to share.
I want to think of the right one, so I'll let you go first, and then maybe something will pop up.
Well, the first one that comes to my mind, was the most upfront. If I was going to be the most vulnerable right now on this podcast, it was that I used to have a limiting belief that I was stupid. So I'd made in every single. And I'm not going to go back to the origin story of where that came from. We're not doing shadow integration work. We're just trying to make sure that people understand how their limiting beliefs are keeping them from taking action, and then how we can create the most simplistic process to help them get out of procrastination into action.
Yeah.
So let me identify the process real fast, so then you can hear the process in how this works. Okay. So super simple process. Number one is, like, every single human being on the face of the planet, in one way, shape, or form or another, operates from some form of I'm not blank enough.
Yep.
I'm not athletic enough. Simply, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not tall enough. Russell Wilson wasn't tall enough. Cooper Kupp, who played at Eastern football, he wasn't fast enough. Samson Ebukam, who I recruited and coached at Eastern football, he wasn't big enough. Well, they have all, from an athletic perspective, we talk about athletes alone, Samson's been in the league for over 10 years. Obviously, everybody knows Cooper Kupp's success. Obviously, everybody knows Russell Wilson's success. It's a story that we tell ourselves. Yeah. So our beliefs creates narratives and stories. We tell those stories, we attach and identify to them, we affirm them through action, and that becomes what we experience in life. We have the ability to take control of the reins and be the storyteller of our own lives. Mm-hmm. We have the ability to tell whatever story that we want. So I had a belief that I was stupid. So when an opportunity was presented to me in the past, before I was aware of it, like, for example, I had the opportunity in my college coaching career to be promoted, I actually shied away. I avoided it because I didn't believe I was smart enough to execute that job. Later in life, when I was running my painting company, I had a job pop up where there was a lot of back-end paperwork that was needed to be done, safety inspections, like safety plans, all these things that I was not savvy on doing. And when I saw this huge 40-page document originally to take on this big contract that I was trying to land to grow the painting company, I remember that thought. We were doing this kind of more deeper emotional work, and I remember that thought popping up, like, oh, you're not smart to do this. And I'm like, well, who said that? Where'd that just come from? Right? So here is how I look at it. Here's the simple framework. Is we first want to identify our strengths. When we recognize a limiting belief, make a list of your strengths. So I am persistent. I'm consistent. Like, I am tough. I'm willing, right? I have all these qualities and traits. And then over here, the weakness is that, maybe there's some things I need to work on mentally and emotionally. Like, for example, if I don't feel like I'm smart enough, then I need to work on my ability to read. I need to become a better reader. Mm-hmm. Well, how do you do that? Well, you read. You want to become a better reader, you read. Another example for me personally was that at one point in my life, I realized that I wanted to be a creative person. I wanted to create things. I wanted to write things. I wanted to create programs. But I didn't have a limiting belief against it necessarily, but I didn't believe that I was creative. So I started to believe the thought, I'm a creative being, right? Then I started doing things and I started looking around and looking for a model. So that's step 2. You got to be aware of the belief that's either limiting you or that you need to create to take action. Then you need to find the model and or support and accountability. So who is in my environment that is creative, that I can model, mm-hmm. and that I can learn from? Who can I be mentored by? Who can I go ask questions to? Right? How can I figure out what it looks like? What does a creative person do? Well, they got to get themselves into a creative state. What does that look like? Well, it's this state of wonder. Well, there's brainwave activity attached to that, right? You got to go from low beta, high beta to alpha for your mind to connect new dots to be in a place of wonder. Okay, well, how do I do that? Right? So that you start to figure out, what do creative people do?
Yeah, success leaves clues.
100%. So then I begin to practice, and then I take action towards it. So the awareness of the limiting belief, finding the information, the knowledge, the mentorship, the accountability to create that. In this case, I'm talking about my creativity, and then taking action. Like, okay, I'm going to start to actually time block my day in a way where there's going to be these 90-minute windows where I have nothing to do but to put myself into a place of curiosity, to a place of wonder. I'm just going to allow for my mind to connect dots, because in an alpha brainwave, your brain begins to connect dots. So I'm going to practice that. And guess what? I got an idea. Oh, and then an idea turned into two. And now today, you live with me. I am.
Oh, yeah. You're a creation machine.
I'm always creating something. I'm always working on refining content and mental models and all these things. And in no way, shape, or form, 10, 15 years ago, did my mind work that way. So that's the framework of awareness, and then kind of some insight, right? And then taking action.
Yeah.
To work on limiting beliefs, right? Because what is keeping you from taking action upon your goals is not a personality trait of procrastination, right? You've created a pattern of procrastination because of a limiting belief about yourself.
Yeah, because you're avoiding the feeling of thinking that you failed.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I was thinking about when I was working in a corporate job and you had started our other business, and I had been coaching for a few years, and having that limiting belief that if we were totally self-employed.
Oh yeah. I remember this conversation.
We needed that safety net of the benefits and the salaried position, like having
the guaranteed money.
Yeah. Having that limiting, which nothing in life is guaranteed, but that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, thinking, can I really do it? And can we be self-sufficient as a fully self-employed family? That took some shifting of beliefs for me to make that move. So
what was the limiting belief originally? If you can remember, kind of dig back into that. It was about 6 or 7 years ago when you left your job. And I was talking about, like, let's just go be entrepreneurs. Let's help me build these businesses. I have all these ideas, like, help me put them into action, help me integrate. I remember that conversation exactly. Do you remember what the limiting belief was?
I wasn't fully aware of it at the time, but as I reflect back on it, I think it was that I wasn't disciplined enough. That if I didn't have somebody telling me what needed to be done, that I would struggle to, prioritize or figure it out. And what if I didn't know all the answers? Now I see myself as a person who's willing to do whatever it takes to figure it out.
Ooh.
But that's the shift, right?
Listen to that story turnaround, you guys. Say that again. What was the first one? I'm not disciplined enough.
Yeah.
Okay, now wait a minute. Let's pause. Do you mind if I coach you?
Go ahead. Sure.
I'm not blank enough. Okay, so I put in, I'm not smart enough. I'm not creative enough, were my two examples. You just said, I'm not disciplined enough. Everybody operates this way. I'm not enough. It's the foundation of everything that we avoid or approach.
Yep.
And we can talk about avoid and approach strategies in a way that, like, we're trying to even overcome, rather than trying to overcome that limiting belief, work to create the limiting belief that is constructive. So if I was going to overcome, I'm not disciplined enough, first is the awareness that is running in my mind, a level of compassion, first of all, right? And then a curiosity piece that says, how can we reframe that in a neutral and constructive way. Doesn't necessarily need to be positive.
Right. It's not, hey, I'm the most disciplined person in the world.
'Cause
That's a huge jump.
And that's not believable because you weren't, right? And still not, right? But you're 10 times more disciplined than you were 7 years ago. So what would be a neutral yet constructive thought or belief about yourself to go from I'm not disciplined to be able to have a belief that's going to be taking action? And this could be just a progressive type of belief.
Taking consistent action helps me to become more disciplined.
Okay, so let's simplify that even more. I'm becoming more disciplined. A process of evolving.
I love using I'm learning to also.
And it's a yet conversation as well.
Yeah.
Right? So I think the piece about this is we got to take this limiting belief that feels fixed. It feels like an identity, right? And it's unchangeable. I'm not disciplined enough. There's no hope in that. Versus a progressive belief that says, I'm becoming more disciplined. I'm learning to be more disciplined. Okay, so then the next step is that's the reframe. That's the awareness and the reframe into a constructive and new. It's way easier to coach somebody else than yourself on this stuff, right?
So true.
Yeah. So then where would you, the next step would be to look around your environment or to the world somewhere to collect, like, how does a disciplined person operate? What do they do? Like, how would that look for you?
Well, they use tools to stay organized.
Okay.
So things like checklists, planners,
So
systems.
daily planners of intention and reflection and these type of things and whatever else.
That's been one of the biggest things for me. But actually, I just connected a dot.
Uh-oh.
You know how I said when I was in school, I'm thinking like middle school, high school.
Okay.
I was a procrastinator on schoolwork. That completely came from the belief that it also fed into and made that loop stronger that I'm not disciplined. Even though it was a choice, it had to do with the belief that school wasn't really that important. But I could see how that actually feeds into, like 7 years ago, what I was still believing.
Yeah, well, most of these limiting beliefs come from our childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're one of the things, obviously that we have done is a lot of deep shadow integration where we got certified in a process called the Q process. Quantum living process is what it's called, that helps to become aware of and rewrite those limiting beliefs at the earliest possible memory of it, the origin of it, as far as back as you can't remember all the way back, but
yeah.
But we're keeping it simple. We're not going down the quantum path.
It's just kind of interesting, right? Like, there's always so many clues as you kind of look back. You can connect the dots looking backwards.
So you look around your environment, you see people who are disciplined, and they organize, they plan, they set intention, they journal, they use some sort of a journal or planner, which we happen to create at that point in time, about the same time frame. And then they reflect on, like, how did I do? Did I do the things I said I was going to do? And so they keep promises to themselves but without that intention, without that guidance, right? So, okay, awesome. So then now we just went from awareness to reframe to some form of, let's just call it mentorship, right? To the most important piece, people. Are you ready? Authentic action. Okay. So if everything's a pattern and we have taken action based upon our previous emotions and thoughts and belief, when we're working to create the new belief and attach the new emotion to it, right? Which, if you were disciplined, how does that feel? And all those type of things. And then now take action towards it. That is going to fortify that. That's going to affirm the new belief. Without affirmation of the new belief, it just becomes an idea. And most people stop at ideas. Most people stop at information. They don't use the next steps. Because I'm actually going to add a step real fast. So
I was just going to add a step.
Oh, go. You do it. We'll see if it's the same.
So here's something that I'm thinking about is our brain's always looking for evidence of what we believe is true. So when we think that we're a person who procrastinates, like this person who wrote the question and says, hey, I have a goal, I feel sparked, but I procrastinate when it's time to take action.
Let's call this person Tom.
So if Tom feels like that's true, then he's going to be looking for evidence that that's true.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Don't do that.
So,
but you do that without knowing.
We do that without knowing. Mm-hmm. We never have to look for ways that we don't measure up. Our brain just looks for it automatically. Yeah. What we do need to do is...
It's called confirmation bias.
Yeah. What we do need to do is pay attention to the wins column and not just the losses or the quote unquote failures that we're having. So can we look for evidence of ways that we did do something within that realm? So I think about this idea, okay, I'm not disciplined. Do I brush my teeth every morning and every night? Uh-oh. Yeah, I do. Huh.
I love this.
Interesting. Okay. What else do I do that I'm consistent and disciplined in? And there's tons of things that I can think of that are very, very simple things. Mm-hmm. Right? So we can look at that wins column and create evidence for ourselves that we actually are a person who follows through. If you're somebody who thinks I never finish anything, like, well, you finished doing the dishes at some point.
or whatever. Right? Or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. Like something really, really simple. You did finish a lot of things probably throughout the course of the day that were small. Mm-hmm. So we could start to kind of poke holes in that belief and saying, no, there's actually a lot of evidence that I am disciplined in many ways and consistent in following through. Yeah. Yeah. So that's something for the person, Tom, who wrote the question. That's something to consider is, are you always procrastinating, or are there ways that you have actually proven to yourself that you can follow through on small goals or actions that you want to take?
Where you're not procrastinating, where you're taking action immediately. Like
they wrote the question. They wrote in, so. Yeah.
Okay, so awareness. So sort of a reframe. Then looking for the information that supports the reframe, right? That is already in your life, no matter how small or simple, that challenges the old belief, that helps to already affirm, without even taking action, the new belief. Then kind of get emotionally involved with that new narrative based upon credibility from the past. Figuring out what your environment or the model that you're looking for, what they do, how they operate, what tools do they use? Like what do disciplined people do? They go to bed on time, whatever, right?
Yeah, if you have a health goal, like what is somebody who's super healthy? What kinds of, they're probably drinking a lot of water throughout the day.
Yeah, so maybe I should try that.
They're exercising, like what are the things?
Yeah. And then taking authentic action towards the new belief. To rewrite, to reframe, to affirm. An interesting thing that you just brought up that popped in my mind about this book that I'm reading right now called The Invisible Gorilla is we see what we expect to see. So they had these examples of why motorcycles get hit on the road, and there's like the 4 or 5 different examples they illustrated. One of them was the car example. That one stuck out in my mind the most. And it's not necessarily because they're hard to see, because then people put on like bright colors, but they still like the studies show that the percentage of motorcycles that get hit, even if they're wearing like bright yellow or whatever, is the same. And it's legitimately because you don't expect to see them. And so you don't actually, your brain doesn't process what it doesn't expect to see. It sees what it expects to see.
Interesting.
So if it expects to see, in the old gorilla thing, if you pulled up the video, right, and not to ruin it for you, but you're not expecting to see the gorilla in the video, so you don't see it. That's why you don't see it. It's not because necessarily, and also that our attention can only be focused in one place at a time. The idea of multitasking is a complete...
Our brain works off of predictive algorithms, so it's looking for exactly what the past has shown it.
Yeah. So if this is the story that is from the past, this takes me to, I think about like placebo too, right? My past conditioning and expectations and the meaning I place on things, that's placebo, right? So if I expect to see something, that's what I look for. That's what I find. That's what I affirm. That's what the confirmation bias. That's what I create more of. If I believe that I'm not disciplined, I expect to not be disciplined, then I confirm. I do things that are not disciplined. And then that's my confirmation bias. See, told you, because that's what I'm looking for. If we begin to reframe the limiting belief with a different narrative, we look to see how the opposite, or at least neutral, is true. We begin to expect to see, things that are in alignment with the new belief that we're creating. That I'm making progress I'm learning to become more disciplined, is what you said. Awesome. Then now I expect to see that because I've actually primed my attentional. This is called attentional mechanisms. I prime my awareness, my beam of awareness, to actually pick up and see. If I expect to see the motorcycle, I see it. Right? Why you expect to see someone crossing the street at a crosswalk is because there's the bright yellow flashing lights that have a big old crosswalk place, and so you're primed to see it. So it's safer to cross the street, people, at a crosswalk than it is a jaywalk. If you don't
for the love.
For the love of God. Well, that's, complete rabbit hole for just 2 seconds. Like everybody out here riding these electric bikes around, right? The other day, one did not expect to see it, couldn't hear it.
Yeah, they're so quiet.
They're quiet, right? Like, it just freaks me out. These kids riding around town, like they're going to get hit, right? And because especially because it's so new, we don't expect to see a 13-year-old, flying down 16th Avenue on an e-bike. Like, it's just not. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just not normal. So you don't expect to see it. Your awareness doesn't pick up on it. Even though you're looking right at it. Legitimately, this is what's scary. Even though you're looking right at it. The studies show in that gorilla video, Heidi, in the gorilla video, they actually said that even the people who didn't see it as they tracked their eyes looked at it for at least a second.
Do you have a link or something to that video?
I think it's just theinvisiblegorilla.com. I think is what it is.
I'll try to find it and put it in the show notes so people can watch that.
Well, but now you're going to be looking for the gorilla, so it's going to completely destroy the study.
Okay.
But here's what: if you're listening to this, take the video, show it to a group of people, do the prompts of telling them to count the amount of passes of the basketball people, of the basketball passes of the white team. Right, because I think there's 2 different teams passing a basketball back, and you're supposed to count how many passes. I think they do like 35 or 36 passes in this video. It's a couple-minute video. At some point, a gorilla comes in, dances. You thought it's a bear, it was a gorilla. A gorilla comes in and dances, stands there for a moment, and then dances out of the video. Half the people, they have done this study over and over and over. Half the people consistently do not see the gorilla.
Yeah. I've seen a similar one it did have a bear.
Oh, maybe you did, yeah. So I think the same is true when it comes to our awareness is primed to see what we believe.
Yeah, and what you're looking for. What you're pointing your attention at.
Yeah.
Are you focused more on the things that you're not measuring up at and the ways that you're failing? Or the ways that you're actually winning, making progress, and doing well. Yeah.
So let's wrap this one up. Any last final thoughts, takeaways?
I just love this process. I hope that the person that we're calling Tom, that wrote the question, is able to find some value in what we shared, and hopefully that's helpful. So if you have a question, leave it at the link in the show notes. It goes to a text directly to us, and we will address your question on the next podcast.
Awesome. We thank you for your time, and we'll see you next week, and looking forward to answering your questions.